So we come to the end of the 15th chapter now. So the last section of the 15th chapter, from 15 onwards, what is the theme of the last section?
From 15.
What does Krishna talk about?
So Krishna talks about like his transcendental nature, that he is infallible and like beyond infallible and fallible.
He also talks about Vedanta.
Yeah.
Only he is to be known
By
from the Vedas.
from the Vedas.
From the Vedas he is to be known. Very good. Vedaishta sarve aham vedya. Vedanta Vedeva chaham. So he is to be known from all the Vedas, and Vedanta is the ultimate conclusion of all the Vedas is to know Krishna. So last time we did up to 17.
Yeah,
We
18.
want to do the last one, right? Last two.
Yes.
Okay, so who would like to recite?
17.
17th or 19th?
We'll recap 17 and then go. I'm sorry, no, we'll recap 18 and then go on to 19. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, read text 17.
You want to read it? Use the microphone, Aditya.
Hare Krishna.
उत्तमा पुरुषस्त्वन्या परमात्मेत्युद्धारितः यो लोकत्रयमाविष्ट विभर्तव्यः ईश्वरा. Beside these two, there is great living personality, the supreme personality, soul is imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them.
Very good. So, did you want to come from?
The idea of this verse is very nicely expressed in Katha Upanishad and Svedaswata Upanishad.
Svedaswata Upanishad. It is clearly stated there that above the innumerable living entities, some of whom are conditioned and some of whom are liberated, there is the Supreme Personality who is Paramatma. The Upanishadic verse runs as follows: Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The purport is that amongst all the living entities, both the conditioned and liberated, there is one Supreme Living Personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who maintains them and gives them all the facility of enjoyment according to different work. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart as Paramatma. A wise man who can understand him is eligible to attain perfect peace, not others.
What's the main point here?
Paramatma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he resides in every individual, and the individual is never independent of the Paramatma or the Supreme, and he facilitates everything in fact, whether we know it or not, and one who knows that only can attain peace and not others.
So that's the essence of Vedanta, that we have to come to the point of understanding Krishna is that Paramatma. That Paramatma is not different from Krishna. That we have to realize. When you realize that, what happens? That devotee engages in devotion service. Because after all the years of searching, studying Vedanta, what is the conclusion? Conclusion is to reach Paramatma. So to reach Paramatma, realize that Paramatma is not different from Krishna, then one begins devotion service. But in Bhakti Yoga, you see, is superior because one is engaged in devotion service already, without knowing this even. One doesn't have to know all these technical details. Then why do we have these technical details? Why do we have to study all this then, if we don't need it?
To get knowledge?
To get knowledge, yes, but not for just for sake of knowledge.
Challenges. Maya's challenges will be there.
So that our own conviction is strong. Because today we accept it in our heart, yes, Bhakti is the highest, Krishna is supreme, Krishna is Paramatma, I want to serve him. That's very good, but tomorrow somebody will come question and say, how do you know? Are you sure? Then doubts will come in our mind. Then we should say, no, Bhagavad Gita Krishna has said in the 15th chapter. You can quote the verses, the last 5 verses. How they are saying, establishing Krishna as Paramatma. Paramatma is supreme and Krishna is the Paramatma. This is established in the last section. So we should know this without doubt. How strong we have this faith, that's what determines how advanced we are. Surprising. You would say that, oh, our advancement is based on how many shlokas you know, or how many books you have read, and how many exams you have passed. It may not depend on any of those. Those are all helpful, no doubt. They are not bad things. Yes, definitely they are good. But that in itself will not help us. So what makes those things useful is if we have the right attitude. Attitude has to be there. And the faith, based on attitude, the faith will also come. When the faith is strong, then one will be benefited by this. And this is true even in the material world. Isn't it? Mahatma Gandhi said, right? Faith can move mountains. In our school days, we used to have a story of Doctor's World by R.K. Narayan, true story. They tell the story. Very much applies to Krishna consciousness. That time I didn't see it from Krishna consciousness angle, but now I see, yes, big message in that. In that village, there was a doctor, and this doctor, we've been seeing a lot of doctors recently. That's always on my mind. And in that village, the doctor had a reputation that he would, whatever he said to the patient would always happen. Come, Mr. Okay. Whatever he said to the patient would always happen. He said, this patient 3 months, this one 2 days, this one 1 day. And they would live only that period. He was very frank and there was no point hiding. This is a diagnosis, clearly shows that they will last for so many days. I will better tell them. I know the fact, I will tell them. So that at least they can prepare themselves. No point having surprises. So one day, this doctor, he, come here bro, there's a lot of space here. Come.
Gavish is here.
Oh, Gavish is there, you got card, okay. Outside. Sit on the steps for you. Sit on the steps, it's easier. Yeah.
In this area.
No, don't worry. Is it just outside? Yeah, don't worry. It will be alright.
It's hot, that's why I thought.
It's alright.
So this doctor was known to tell the frank diagnosis always, and he was always correct. Most of the time he'd be right. But one day it so happened his best friend had a heart attack, and his best friend's wife called him and said, "Doctor, please come and see. Your best friend is very serious condition." The doctor went and examined his pulse and everything, and his diagnosis was that you will not see the morning. You're not going to last. But this time he was telling, if I tell this to my friend, that writing his death sentence, he's going to die tomorrow. How can I do this? So he said, tell a lie. And he told his friend, don't worry, you'll be fine. Just relax, take rest. Morning we'll come and see you. You'll be fine. Nothing seriously wrong. Okay, you had a little bit of problem, but you're okay now. You'll recover. And then he left. Next day morning the phone rang. And he thought the worst news is coming now. The friend's wife called again, and this time he said, no, your friend is doing very well. He's sitting up. Of course, this is a mundane thing. He's drinking coffee and reading newspaper. He is quite hale and hearty. Thank you very much. I said, how can that be? I didn't give any treatment. And his condition was a massive heart attack. He couldn't have survived. In the village, there is no facility for bypass surgeries and all those things. So we thought pretty much he's finished. But to his surprise, he survived. Why? Because he had faith in the doctor's word. So the story is called Doctor's Word. So we have faith in doctors, engineers, lawyers, politicians, unfortunately. Knowing fully well they are fallible. Why can't we have faith in Krishna? Or Krishna's representative, spiritual master, the Prabhupada. Why we are so hesitant? The moment someone throws an argument in the opposite direction, we get confused. Oh, maybe. And this is not only true of Shastric knowledge, not only true about Krishna, but also true about our relationships as well. The moment you hear criticism of a devotee, our faith in that devotee goes away. You start thinking, oh, this devotee is not good, I am better. So it's a very dangerous place to be. Unfortunately, in management, sometimes we have to deal with these things. It is unavoidable. And we have to see right and wrong and make these judgments sometimes, even though we don't like to. But reality is that it is a very boiling kettle for offences. Anyone can commit offences. It's very dangerous. And that's why it's not recommended that we take up management unless we are fixed up in social service. Because it's very tricky. We don't know who is right. Then we start making our own judgment. Oh, this is right, this is wrong. I like this, I don't like that. Then Shastra is put aside, Prabhupada is put aside, and we make our own judgment. Isn't it? I'm talking of the real situations happening to us. That shakes our faith. When our faith is shaken, actually our advancement is also brought down. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Kanishtam Madhyam Uttam Adhikari Shraddha Anusari. According to the degree of faith, you are called Kanishtam Madhyam Uttam. So faith is a key factor. A simple devotee has faith in the Lord, faith in the spiritual master. Yasyate parabhakti, tathadeva thaguro, tasya katiti artha, prakashante mahatmana. To one who has implicit faith, yasyate parabhakti, one implicit faith in the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord. To him all the imports of Vedic knowledge are revealed. All the Vedic knowledge is revealed to that person. This knowledge is revealed. You can't memorize it and cram it and get it. It has to be revealed. And that revelation happens by the Lord's desire. The Lord decides, I want to reveal to this devotee. So we can't demand, we can't expect that it will always happen because I have done this, I've ticked all the boxes, so therefore I deserve it. No, not necessary. So this Shastra is given to give evidence to us so that our doubting mind will be convinced. And even if we are convinced today, our conviction will not be shaken by some opposing arguments or opposing criticism. We lose faith. When the Americans did a big propaganda in the 60s of landing on the moon, Srila Prabhupada was very vocal about it. He said, no, they haven't gone to the moon. They are just making it up.
It was just shown, the picture was created or something.
Yeah, pictures created, that's right. And Prabhupada said, anybody can make up these pictures. This is not what we saw on television. It's their broadcast live, Apollo mission. And Prabhupada stuck to his gun and said, no, I don't think they have gone there. Because why? Because they are saying that there is no life there. How can that be? That was the argument. They are saying there is no life on the moon, so therefore they can't be right. They couldn't have gone to the moon. Very task. No water. How can it be? We read in the Shastra. Shastra says, without looking at the sky, Shastra says that there is life on the moon and they have much higher standard of living than our planet. So how can they say there is no life? Because they couldn't find water? That's not a good enough reason. Because the premise or the assumption of science is that for life to exist, there must be water, there must be oxygen. Without these two elements, the life cannot be there. That's an assumption. And when scientists have found deep water ocean, they have found where the ammonia gas is coming, in that there are fish are living. They are living in ammonia gas. It's not even oxygen. And if they come into oxygen, they die. And oxygen fish go into ammonia gas, they die. But each one is living in their own environment. That's why Prabhupada said, on the base Shastra says, Sarvagata. That means the living entities are distributed all over the universe. In the sand, in the soil, in the air, in the water. And so in the sun also there is life. So when Prabhupada starts speaking like that, moon also there is life. Then some devotees left the movement, they left ISKCON. They said, no, this kind of Swamiji is completely wrong. He is not stating the facts. Prabhupada always saw the facts in the Shastra, in the Bhagavatam, in the Bhagavad Gita. Not through telescope, microscopes and all this technology. So that can be illusion. Anybody can make a mistake even. Let's say even if they are not cheating, let's say it is all genuine, they could still make a mistake because the senses are imperfect. So which one would you rather believe? Believe Shastra or want to believe so-called scientific discoveries? Which keep on changing, they keep updating it every time. So the Vedanta is really, in the last 3 verses especially, Krishna summarizes the essence, and that is that Krishna is Paramatma. Who is that Paramatma? That is Krishna. So first he says there are 2 living entities, the Jiva and the Atma and the Paramatma. And the Paramatma is the master of the Jivas. And that Paramatma is actually Krishna. So this understanding is extremely important. We take for granted because the devotees, we think, oh, that's alright, what's the big deal, I accept that. But actually there's so many people have doubts.
I have a question. What I was, because related to your point, do we have to have complete knowledge of absolute truth? Because you said he reveals himself when you have the knowledge. So suppose your lifetime is not, you don't study all your scriptures, and then you don't have time because your death can come anytime. So suppose any devotee who is dying before his age, like 50 or 40 or something, and he has not learned the scriptures and still he's a pure devotee, still he reveals himself.
Yeah.
That revealing of absolute truth doesn't mean that he needs to be reading all the scriptures he would have completed. But faith is important. That's what you mean.
See, faith, when once one has faith, one follows the order of spiritual master, like the Brahmana in Srirangam, right? He was illiterate, but still he was reading. He already had full realization of Krishna, but still he was reading. He didn't say, now I made it now, I got full realization of Krishna, so therefore I don't need to read Bhagavad Gita. If someone can come here also, there's a lot of space here. Yes, we'll see, yes? Yeah, please. Maybe Bhagavad Gita will come. So we will have to come this side. So it is not the reading of scripture, it is following the order of Guru that's important. The Srirangam Brahmana, South Indian Brahmana, was blessed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he followed the order of his Guru to read Bhagavad Gita every day in spite of him being illiterate. It's not because he's reading Bhagavad Gita he got the knowledge. He got the knowledge because he followed the order of his Guru to read Bhagavad Gita. There's a difference between the two. And that is very important. That's where the attitude factor comes. If I read with the idea of showing off my knowledge, that person is also reading Bhagavad Gita. But the motivation is completely wrong. That person may not get realization of Krishna. Neither can a devotee say, I realize Krishna, now I don't need to read. So the obedience and the submissiveness, if we don't get cultivate a submissiveness, There's no point having all this knowledge. That's why sometimes knowledge is dangerous, because it makes us proud and think I know better. I decide what I want to do. I don't listen to any authority. Immediately that knowledge becomes zero. That's why this proper attitude is so important. So accepting the order of Guru, higher authority is very important. If you displease the higher authorities and try to please Krishna, you're not going to be successful. You will have the best idea of how to preach, you will be the best singers, best kirtaniyas, best class givers, best preachers, best manager, best everything, but we don't have the blessings. You won't get the mercy, then you won't understand. So knowledge is not revealed in that situation. Though we have got, but you appear to a lot of knowledge, that's not going to help us. So that's why this is so important. Because sometimes, when I say this, people think, oh, it's not a management trip. No, it's not about that. Bhakti is about being submissive, accepting authority. Very important. Then, side by side, whatever we can do, best we can do, we should do. Whatever service can happen. But following the higher authority is the most important factor. Especially Guru. And Guru doesn't mean only Diksha Guru. Guru also means Shiksha Guru. They are guiding us. We should take the guidance all the time. Act independently, then Krishna is not pleased. If he is not pleased, he will not bless us with the knowledge. So, coming back to your point, reading the Bhagavad Gita is good, but it's done on the order of Guru. Then it's complete. So any other motivational reading, that's not. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata, Arjuna is fighting. What is the ultimate reason for his fighting? Is it because he's not the body? Is it because he's Kshatriya? Because he is Krishna, that's right. So for Arjuna, authority is directly Krishna. For us, it is our Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. They are our authorities. We have to please them. Therefore we are doing it. Not because we thought it's a good idea. I think this is the way to preach, this is how we should do things. Because I like the idea. Who cares what you like? Who cares what I like? That's not important. What is important is what you please Guru and Krishna. That is most important. And even in that, if you do a little bit even, it's far better than volume the service done in independence or rebellious mode. Because the mercy is not there. That's why many times I was hearing in Prabhupada memories how when big devotees like Vrindavan Maharaj and all, they did big book distribution. Prabhupada sometimes appreciate them a lot. Other times he just ignored them. Vrindavan Maharaj describes once he had done big university preaching and a lot of books in the university libraries and all. He came and gave a report to Prabhupada and he thought Prabhupada would appreciate him because he had done a phenomenal service. Not ordinary. He had done, the book distribution party had done a huge number of books. They have standing orders from universities. The university said as soon as it publishes, we'll buy it. They purchased before it was printed even, before publishing. Advance orders they placed. They got that much they did. So Prabhupada one time he didn't acknowledge even. But then once one young girl came and Brahmachari or Mataji came and she put a flower vase in Prabhupada's room and took out the old flower vase. Prabhupada looked at her and said, thank you very much for your service. But to Maharaj he didn't say anything. Because the moment you start, the Guru detects that I am thinking I am doing everything. I am so great, I know better. Immediately to cut the pride down, Guru has to teach them a lesson. Don't get carried away. You are doing it because of Guru's blessing. I am doing it to please Guru, no other purpose, no other intention. So the motivation is extremely important. Motivation is very important. Having the right motivation please Krishna. And pleasing Krishna is essence. And we can't say, I know how to please Krishna, I got the best way, I don't need to listen to anyone. That's not going to work either. So one should not minimize the position of our fellow devotees, our friends. Don't think, oh, Maharajis are there, they are blessing me, that's enough. I don't care about this. Small mosquitoes. That is very wrong attitude. Ramanacharya showed us that attitude properly. In a village, in a town, there were two disciples. One was a rich disciple, one was a poor disciple. I think I told this story. for nodding
He's not
down.
meeting the followers from him.
Yeah, Radha Maharaj also comes. This I heard from three Maharajas. Radha Maharaj, Japatak Maharaj, three Maharaj. Can you tell the story?
I didn't remember what I tried to. Ramanujacharya was visiting a village and he wanted to first test how these two devotees are. So he had sent the followers first to the rich man's house and he was not giving them proper shelter or proper food or something. Whereas the other Brahmana, other disciple, like the wife went and begged some food from others and then served the devotees. Is that wrong?
That came at the end. Okay, there's a little
Yes, I
bit
think
before.
we mixed up.
Yeah, a little bit it's gone back and forth. Would you say that remember better?
It's
Mostly
another
the
one.
same thing. I just remember the punchline.
Yeah, that's what happens. You remember the punchline. But to get to the punchline to be the punch, you got to have the backing behind it. Yeah, so anyway, I'll tell the story very quickly. But they're correcting again. I heard from Prabhupada himself. I think who was the third person? Prabhupada. He said that. But he tells one part of the story. No one tells the full story end to end. You have to put all three together. Then you get the full story. The full story was that Ramanujacharya had planned a trip to a town or village. And in that town he had two disciples. So he sent a messenger. Go and inform these two disciples that I am visiting your village. And so when they went and gave the message to the rich disciples, he was very happy, excited, and he started telling all the servants and wife, come on, let's get ready, Guru Maharaj is coming. Let's have a good reception for him, prepare nice prasad, invite all the people. Let's have a big program. And the disciples were very impressed. He's such a Guru Bhakta. He loves Krishna Master so much. And he's dropped everything and is now making arrangement for Guru's coming, reception. This is very good. Then after that they went to give the second disciple, the poor disciple. That Guru Maharaj is coming down, he wants to come and see you. He was very excited also, very happy. But he was very poor, he had no money, nothing. And but still, he said first he told the disciples, you sit down, the messenger disciples. Sit down, and he served them water, he gave them a seat, took nice care of them, as you rightly pointed out, and served them very nicely. And then he said he was very happy to have Guru Maharaj here. Even though he had no money, he had nothing to serve. He made a commitment, and his wife said, yes, we will do it. I had nothing in the house. That's part one of the story. Part two of the story is Ramanujacharya got news. He asked the messengers what happened. So we went and told, and they were both very happy that they are coming, they are looking forward to your visit. The Ramanujacharya said, but how did I treat you? Oh, then the rich disciple, he didn't even talk to us. Once he got the news that you are coming, he completely ignored us. But the poor disciple, even after hearing the news, he took nice care of us and offered us a glass of water and nice seat and made us comfortable, took care of us. Then Ramanujacharya decided, I'm not going to the rich man's house. I'll only go to the poor disciples. That's part two of the story. Part three is what Prabhupada tells. He tells in more depth and more detail. And that story he tells is that Ramanujacharya comes to that village and he goes to the poor man's house. But as he about to enter the poor man's house, he notices that the husband is not at home. Only the wife was at home. And from inside the house, the wife told Gurudev, please come. But she didn't come out and receive him. Wondering why she's not coming out. She's telling from inside to come. And Prabhupada explained, Ramanuja is very intelligent, he understood. She's not coming because she has no clothes to wear. Husband and wife have one piece of cloth. Whoever goes out will wear that cloth and go. The other one has to stay in the house without clothes. When they go together, they have to wear the same cloth somehow, one piece of cloth and go together. That was their poverty condition. Prabhupada explained this. And condition was so bad that she couldn't come out and receive Gurudev. She had to only call him, Gurudev, please come. So that Ramanuja understood. And he just threw one cloth inside the room. He knew she was there inside. He put his own cloth, he took and put it inside each other. She wore that somehow, then she came out. And the disciple understood. Gurudev knows why she's not. Oh, she's so rude. She's telling from inside only, come, I'm just still in bed drinking coffee or something. Bed coffee. That's so fashionable. Not these days. When I was young, that used to be trendy thing. In a hotel, you get bed coffee, bed breakfast, bed toilet, everything. Like you're an emergency ward in hospital. When it is a 5-star, come out of bed. It's a tamasic consciousness. Yeah, but you see, someone from inside, and if I imagine if I come to your house and inside you say, come in, and you don't even come out, I think what's wrong? Either you're sick or you're being rude. But in neither case, she had no clothes to wear. She wore that cloth and then she came. But that the story doesn't end there. Prabhupada continues that part now. He says, then what happens? She has nothing to cook. Husband is not at home. What she should do now? And he didn't come along Guru Maharaj. He brought all disciples with him. So she's sitting there with no money, no food in the house, husband not at home. How is she going to serve? So she goes to the village. I think I've told this part of the story also. This again, now everyone picks up this part of the story. This part is common. So the lady goes to that grocer. Grocer was a very lusty man and he was trying to flirt with her and trying to have an affair with her. And she had always been a chaste lady, she had always stopped him. But because she was so poor, she had no money. So she went and told the grocer, look, you give me bhoga for Guru Maharaj, I will satisfy all your desires. Whatever you want, I will do for you. Man was very happy. He said, oh, take the whole shop, it's all yours. So she took the whole thing from the shop, whatever she wanted, and cooked a big feast. In the evening, the husband comes home after doing bhiksha, getting a little bit. He's saying, Guru Maharaj is already there, and they already had a big feast, and wife has cooked. He said, where did you get all this from? And she went and told, look, I'm very sorry, but I didn't take the permission, but I promised this to this man. And he gave me all these things. And the husband is very supportive. He said, yes, you did the right thing. Gurudev's service is most important. Our prestige, our thing is not important. We should now fulfill our, now Guru Maharaj is served nicely, he is very happy, all disciples are happy, they are taken care. Now you should go and see this man. Then before that, Ramanujacharya comes to ask, what is the situation, how are you doing, what is happening? And she tells the whole story. Husband and wife both tell the story. This is what happened. The Ramanujacharya suggests, take some of my Mahaprasad and give it to the grocer. Take this Mahaprasad. And the wife went and she gave the Mahaprasad to the grocer. He said, first you eat this Mahaprasad. As soon as he ate the Mahaprasad, his heart was changed. He said, I'm such a lusty old man. You are a chaste wife, you are such a chaste disciple. Your husband, wife, both of you are serving Guru Maharaj so nicely. I cannot do this. I can see you as my mother only. Please forgive me. He falls at her feet and begs for forgiveness. So then, of course, he changes. He becomes a disciple also later on. That was that is the potency. So why I tell this story? Because I like telling stories. Simple answer. Or rather, what's the message of the story?
To follow the instructions of Guru Maharaj, spiritual master is a representative of Krishna.
Yeah. Sorry, Mati. Yes,
Serving is important.
Serving is important. Yes, serving. Not only gurus, but also the disciples. That is the first part. See, the story has 3 parts, right? The first part showed that don't ignore the disciples and say, I'll only serve Guru Maharaj. Or when Guru Maharaj comes, I'll get excited, otherwise I will not be seen. You see sometimes some devotees, Guru Maharaj, where were you yesterday? Nobody not to be seen. Guru Maharaj comes, suddenly they want me in command, I'm in charge, guys. You get the water, you brought this, you put that. Okay. So that is one lesson. What else we learn? Service is important, yes, your point taken.
He started by mentioning that don't ignore the small fries.
Yeah, they don't think they're small fries in this thing. The small devotees are not important. I only serve Guru. That's the first part of the story. Yeah. What is the second part of the third part?
The Guru's blessings was in the Mahaprasad.
Yes. By taking the Mahaprasad, remnants of such a great devotee, even a lusty man, a sinful man, his attitude was completely changed, which is so hard to change. Giving up lust is so difficult. But it was possible by taking Mahaprasad. Remnants of devotees. What else?
Guru Maharaj just knows everything like how Krishna knows
Yes.
everything. He can understand the disciple even though he is not with them.
Correct. Very good. So one should have faith in Guru's instructions that he is going to guide me.
You need to surrender to the spiritual master. Unless until you don't surrender,
Yeah.
all the whatever you are doing for him will be taken away.
Very good. That's what connects us to this chapter. This is the Vedanta. This is the essence of Vedanta. And Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. But to realize that, one has to have faith in Guru and Krishna, in the Vaishnavas, in the devotees of the Lord. Have faith and not develop a critical attitude. Not develop a fault-finding attitude. Discussing the faults of other devotees. Unless you are a manager or a parent or a guru, you should not be involved in this. If you got some managerial role, yes, sometimes you have to say that pot is not clean, you didn't do your job properly, what to do? No one likes to point out, but we have to do it. If you don't do it, you're doing injustice. Someone is not doing the service properly and you're in charge of the service, you have to do that. No, that's not the right way to do it. Of course, you not do it in an insulting way. You can say, oh, thank you so much for all that you've done, but look, this pot somehow was not cleaned. Can you please do it properly? Now that is correcting, but at the same time, we're doing it with great humility. Sarvatirtha has a lot of experience in that. That's why you got the service. And Mathura Mataji as well. Got to deal with all these personalities. It's not easy because you got to get the service done properly. At the same time, you shouldn't offend them. At the same time, you have to give feedback, isn't it? And that's not easy. But our motivation has to be not to one-upmanship. I am better than you, therefore I am telling you to wash the pot better. That's not the right attitude. So that's why before we criticize, and even after we criticize, we have to criticize. If that is our service given to us, then we should find good qualities in that devotee to compensate for that and say, look, you have done this very well. This, however, is not so good. And it takes a lot of self-control to do that. It all comes from sense control. Vacho Vegam,
Krodha Vegam, Jubha Vegam, Udaro Pasta Vegam, Etan Vegan Yo Vishayata Dega, Sarvam Api Mam
So we can control the urges, the 6 urges. Then one can make disciples all over the world. Nothing to stop us. So powerful one becomes. If only one control the 6 urges. Vishaheta. Vishaheta means to control. Under control. So the nectar instruction begins with that. So this is Vedanta. This is the proper understanding of Vedanta. Vedanta and understanding Krishna is supreme is good. But we're doing everything to please Guru and Krishna. That is our motivation in doing everything. So Arjuna is fighting to please Krishna, not because the soul is immortal, not because he is a Kshatriya, not because he'll go to heavenly planets if he dies or he'll get a kingdom. That's not any reason for him to fight. The only reason to fight is because Krishna will be pleased. So for us also, to please the devotees is very important. So that's why pleasing the devotees is more important than pleasing the Lord. And that is Lord Shiva said that. Aradhanam sarvesham aradhanam param tasmat paraturam devi tadyanam samacham. What does that mean?
The exact translation, but
Use the microphone.
of all forms of worship, the worship of Lord Vishnu is considered the greatest, but even greater than worship of Vishnu is worshipping his Tadiya, his servants or paraphernalia and
Correct.
associates and so forth.
Correct. Paraphernalia and associate. Paraphernalia also. That's why we're teaching the children not to disrespect Karta. It's very important. Pratanga. That's all Balaram, expansion of Balaram. Everything is Balaram. Balaram appears to Krishna in 3 aspects. One is his Adi Guru, one is his elder brother, and third is his Sevak, servant. He is also serving Krishna. The 3 aspects he appears for Krishna. See, when Balaram is serving Krishna, what is our position then? So our position also is servant. So this is the essence of the Vedanta. That's why spiritual life, we are very careful. We can't just do things externally, tick the boxes. Yes, I chanted 16 rounds. Yes, I went to Mangalarti. Yes, I put on tilak. Yes, I've taken bath. Yes, I've done this. That may not be the, Doesn't mean that we are a perfect devotee.
It's becoming ritualistic.
Yeah, ritualistic. It's external. So the motivation is not right. So the right motivation is extremely important. That's why to get the right motivation we need association. In the association of devotees our attitudes get corrected. If we stay away from the association of devotees, there is no one to correct us. That is why I emphasize so much that devotees to come to class. Because when we come hear from someone else, not ourselves, we like to give 10 lectures, very good. But we also have to make sure at least 1 or 2 per week we have to hear. If we don't do that, chances are we will not be rectified. Our mistakes will not be corrected because there is no one to tell us. So when we come to class, these points are reinforced again. The class is not only about understanding the subject matter, but also how to apply that in our day-to-day life. That's what we get in a live class, whereas in a record lecture, that speaker is speaking according to circumstances there at that time, which may not be exactly what you are facing today, now. Isn't it? That's why it's so important. Especially for our leaders. If your leaders, I'm really insisting, please make sure you come to class regularly, hear regularly, associate regularly, because this is our nourishment. No one is too big that I am so great that I don't need any further knowledge. Or I know more than these devotees, why should I come here? If that attitude we develop, or I have more important things to do. That spoils the whole devotional service. And then we preach in that mood, then actually that mood comes across in the preaching. And the people that you are teaching, they will follow the same thing. And that mistake gets propagated again and again. Even though we seem to be preaching, making devotees, but the wrong attitude is being developed. Then everything we have gone is wasted. Right? You can ask questions in recording. There are 70,000, 80,000 lectures online. You get plenty. We can get ideas from that. But certainly if you have to see our own progress, we need to make that commitment. That my sadhana is important and I have to hear class and I have to study the Shastra. Then we get a clear understanding of what is the spiritual master's instruction. Otherwise you don't understand instruction. That's why we say Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapita Mena Bhutali Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadadhi Swapadadhi. So Rupa Goswami understood the mode of Lord Chaitanya because he heard from him. Hearing is so important. Then we imbibe the proper mood. Then we know what we should do and should not do. Otherwise we'll be deluded by false ego. A false ego dictates, you go here, they'll respect you. Here nobody cares about you. Why you should go there? False ego will think like that. It's easier to surround by Bhakti Vriksha members who glorify us and say, Jai, Jai, Jai. Sometimes call us Guruji also. And feel, oh, this is so nice. As I go to the class here, nobody cares about me. I'm just a face in the crowd. Not so attractive. You see how the false ego works? And then we justify it, saying, oh, once in a while I listen to class also. Yeah. Not the same way when you go and study systematically. This is so important. And that's why Vedanta is tricky. Because on paper it looks easy. Krishna is Paramatma. I got that, let's go home. In fact, one devotee, is very intelligent devotee, when he joined a movement, within 6 months, 1 year, he pretty much read all the books. Prabhupada books. He read all of them. Pretty much. Just read through. And he said, one thing I find, Prabhupada, he repeats so much. He says the same thing everywhere. I'm sure I can condense all his books in one book. It'll all be there in one book. You don't need so many books. He's written the same thing over and over and over again. So from an academic point of view, that may be true. Academically it's correct. That the same point has been repeated many times. Yeah, that's right. Krishna is...
It's not repeated. It's not. I was thinking same thing. Every time it's. Then I thought okay, maybe he wants to. We are so forgetful that he wants us to remember every time. Remind this is the. Because until he reminds us, we'll just forget in a few seconds.
Yeah, that's right. You'll forget so easily.
So maybe he has that future this vision.
Vision, yeah, that's right. See, Prabhupada, when this is from the editorial team, who was saying that one of the Prabhupada memories, the editors, he asked Prabhupada, this purport, the Mahamantra is mentioned I think 6 times or 3 times. The same mantra written 3 times in the same purport. Can I write just Hare Krishna mantra once and then not write every time 3 in the same purport? And Prabhupada said, if you like, you can take out the rest of the purport and keep the 3 Mahamantras. And I want a Mahamantra in full 3 times. I actually found that verse one which purport is talking about. There's one purport, Mahamantra written 3 times in the same purport. The full Mahamantra. So you see, we may think I'm very smart, I know better, I can make it, compact, save on printing cost, save Mother Earth, planet, cut down less trees, but only Mahamantra only once. That is how our mundane thinking is, right? But Prabhupada didn't want that. He said, no, I want it 3 times. It has to be done in full, not abbreviated. So that is Vedanta. Anyway, it says here, this is the essence of Vedanta. Whoever understands it can become perfect. So let's read text 19. Janantu. We revise 18 now.
Second microphone.
यो माम् एवमसम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमम् स सर्वविद् भजति माम् सर्वभावेन भारत Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata.
It's on.
There are many philosophical speculations about the constitutional position of the living entity and the Supreme Absolute Truth. Now in this verse, the Supreme Personality of Godhead clearly explains that anyone who knows Lord Krishna to be the Supreme Person is actually the knower of everything. The imperfect knower goes on simply speculating about the Absolute Truth, but the perfect knower, without wasting his valuable time, engages directly in Krishna consciousness, the devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Throughout the whole of Bhagavad Gita, this fact is being stressed at every step, and still there are so many stubborn commentators on Bhagavad Gita who consider the Supreme Absolute Truth and the living entity to be one and the same.
What's the main point in this paragraph?
Anybody who knows Lord Krishna to be a Supreme Person is the knower of everything.
Correct. And it's directly given, right? This Mameva Sammudham Janati Purushottam. You know that I am Purushottam. Mam Eva, certainly. Asammudha is not bewildered. Muda is bewildered. Asammudham is not bewildered. Yes, what is carry on, please?
Vedic knowledge is called Shruti, learning by oral reception. One should actually receive the Vedic message from authorities like Krishna and his representative. Here Krishna distinguishes everything very nicely, and one should hear from this source. Simply to hear like the hogs is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities. It is not that one should simply speculate academically. One should submissively hear from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Anyone who is able to understand this, according to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, knows the purpose of the Vedas. No one else knows the purpose of the Vedas.
What's the point of this paragraph?
This paragraph says that we have to understand that He is the Supreme and we are the serviator. We are the servants. We have to serve Him and we have to take this knowledge from the authorized person. Very submissive by learning all these things.
Yeah, very good.
The word bhajati is very significant. In many places, the word bhajati is expressed in relationship with the service of the Supreme Lord. If a person is engaged in full Krishna consciousness in the devotional service of the Lord, it is to be understood that he has understood all the Vedic knowledge. In the Vaishnava Parampara, it is said that if one is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, then there is no need for any other spiritual process for understanding the Supreme Absolute Truth. He has already come to the point because he is engaged in devotional service of the Lord. He has ended all preliminary process of understanding. But if anyone, after speculating for hundreds of thousands of lives, does not come to the point that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that one has to surrender there, all his speculation for so many years and lives is a useless waste of time.
Very good. What's the point, Madhuri?
If a person already engaged in the devotional service to the Lord,
Hold on.
he already understood the Vedic knowledge.
Very good.
And if someone is speculating about the absolute truth, they are simply wasting their time. And the person who understood, he already had devotional service.
Very good. Very nice. Which other verse describes the same thing? One who knows this engaged in my devotional service. We read this verse before. Which verse says one who knows this engaged in my devotional service?
Chapter 7, verse 3. Manushanam Shashu.
That's not exactly the verse after. Yeah. Yes, yes. To say the full verse.
Ham sarvasya prabhu.
Very good. Very nice. One who knows, the wise who know this perfectly, engage in my devotional service. There's another verse in the 7th chapter also. Bhavanam Dharmanamante. Related to that. But what Vijay said is the verse is after. That one who knows this engagement devotion service. So we once understand Paramatma is Krishna, Krishna is Paramatma, then we want to engage in devotion service to the Supreme Soul. Okay, any other points from this verse?
That's the point I was talking, verse number 3 from chapter 7, Manushanam Shashu. So he is actually saying, Lord has said that who can actually achieve the knowledge, but here in this verse he is actually telling that how he, once he understands what he does, once he understands, he will start engaging himself into the service. So I was trying to correlate these two words, so it's one step ahead.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was looking for the verse which says the consequence of this knowledge is that one engages in devotional service, and that's the verse, the 10th chapter. What other points are here in this verse?
He says, Prabhupada stress that don't waste your valuable
Okay,
time.
pass the mic. There are 2 microphones there. There's one with Ravi. I'm sorry. That's not
Prabhupada is stressing here, don't waste your valuable time.
Yeah.
Just engage straight away in the devotional service.
Very important.
So anytime, anything could happen, so just start immediately.
Yeah. So all our activities should be devotional service. All activities doesn't mean we don't clean the house or we don't take shower. So all activities have to be in doing devotional service. So that everything is transformed into devotional service, rather than saying only if I go and serve in the temple it's devotional service. No, of course that is necessary. We need to do that service. But at the same time, everything else we do is devotional service because all is in relation to the Lord. So looking after the family is also important. At the same time, you have to take the family to the temple and do service there. So both are important. Then we have a healthy balance. If you go one extreme or the other, it's not going to help us. So activities are such a way that they are all centered on Krishna. So that the month of Damodar is a good opportunity to introduce that. So not to waste time, very important. Yes, Lord.
Prabhu, like if we go back to chapter 4 where it says, I think Prabhupada in one of the, I was trying to remember the shloka, but Prabhupada says that by just offering the prasadam, offering the food to the Lord before eating it, all the activities we are doing for getting that food on the table become spiritualized.
Yes.
So that's related to that.
Very good point. Yes, thank you. So that's why it's all tadyanam, it's all related. The connection is there to Krishna, so it's absolute. Anything connected to Krishna in any form is absolute. There are some more important points in this purport. Please tell me.
The knowledge.
Microphone.
One important point here Prabhupada mentions is that the Vedic knowledge is learned by oral reception.
Yeah.
And he should receive the message from authorities like Krishna and his representatives. So, and plus he also stresses on the fact that simply to hear like the hawks is not sufficient. One must be able to understand from the authorities.
Yes.
And again he explains how we should hear. He says one should submissively hear.
Correct.
And from Bhagavad Gita that these living entities are always subordinate.
Yes.
To the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
So anyone who understands this knows the purpose of the Vedas. Otherwise, Prabhupada is very, very clear in saying that no one else knows the purpose of the Vedas. You don't follow these rules. So that's important rules.
Yeah, that's right. Can you summarize the rules again?
So first is Vedic knowledge has to be learned by oral reception.
Yeah.
So again, the fact is confirmed like what we are saying, attending the class. That is the only way we can get oral reception.
Yeah.
So if we attend the class. So, and plus, so first is oral reception, and then from whom? From whom is authorities like Krishna and his representatives in the Guru Parampara. So first is oral reception, next is from whom. The third is, when we receive this knowledge through oral reception, we should not simply hear like hawks. And we must understand this properly from the authorities from whomever we are receiving this knowledge from. And also most importantly, we should not speculate academically, because we should exactly understand what the authority is saying, rather than we speculating ourselves.
Very good. This is very important. So there are 4 items in hearing, how to hear. First thing is, not just listen like hawks, in through one ear, out from another ear. Should not speculate to what you heard. Because sometimes I hear something, that's the danger of the internet lectures. We hear, we interpret in our own way to suit our situation, to justify our situation. So that's called speculation. One should not speculate. And third is, you should hear from, understand from authority. Understand from authority means ask questions, clarify things. That's number 3. And fourth is the attitude of submissive hearing. I like this example one Krishna Maharaj gave of submissive hearing. He said, imagine you are in a hotel building and building is on fire. Remember that? And it's dark everywhere and you are on the top floor. You are trying to come out, you can't. And you are trapped in the balcony and they are giving instructions, come to the left, turn right, come this side and jump. There is a safety net in that place only. Now, how carefully you listen to the instruction, because your life depends on it. Similarly, you should hear the Bhagavad Gita. As if it does, life does depend on it. It's not as if. So that much attentively, that much eagerness, that much submissiveness, we should be.
Follow the same.
And you won't move because you can't make a mistake there. If you turn the right, wrong side and go left side, then top floor, you'll be finished. Fire will kill you or the fall will kill you. So it's not a very good option. Be very careful. Care should be taken in listening to the Bhagavad Gita. Not think, oh, Maharaj is speaking good, but anybody else speaks, they're not a Maharaj, it doesn't matter, this one sit, or don't even go. These type of attitudes we develop towards them. Because we're not disrespecting the devotee, but you're disrespecting the Shastra as well. In both levels. Prabhupada often say, I'm not important, but the message is important, so please respect the message. Neither should the speaker think people are respecting me because I'm so great. It's respect given to the message and the fact that we are representing Vyasdev when we speak. That is given respect, not because I'm so great. So we shouldn't get carried away if someone respects you as a Bhakti leader or Bhakti Shastri teacher and think, oh, you're so great. One shouldn't get carried away with that. Neither should we think that this is not important. Because the message is important and one who represents Vyasdev is also given importance just because of carrying the message. Not because I'm so great. So these are subtle things. So hearing affects all, attitude affects hearing. If I have a wrong attitude, suppose someone giving the class and I don't like that person, whatever he says is not going to be good to me. If I have disrespectful attitude towards the devotee, look, he's talking like blah blah, look at his real life, what he's doing. All such thoughts are going on in your mind, then we cannot appreciate that knowledge that he's giving. So even if he explains, Prabhupada once demonstrated that in a Pendal program. The one man was very challenging to Prabhupada, I think it was in Bombay. And he kept on arguing with Prabhupada and back answering and questioning and challenging Prabhupada all the time. And Prabhupada was very patient with him. And devotees wanted to pull him out, he's so offensive, they want to get him out of there. No, don't disturb the class. So Prabhupada was very patient, he gave him a lot of chance to speak. And after that, he said, have you quite finished? And still he carried on. And Prabhupada said, let him speak. And at the end of that, Prabhupada then said, you finished? Okay. He said, now you learn how not to ask questions. It's not how you should ask questions. Because even if you ask questions in a challenging mood, even if Prabhupada himself gives the answer, we will not understand it because our attitude is not right. Asking in a challenging way, not submissive way. After all, he is Guru, so we have to respect him. What right we got to challenge him? What's our qualification to challenge him? We should understand that. If I have to comment on Prabhupada, sometimes people say, Prabhupada shouldn't have written like this. What do you mean, shouldn't have written like this? Who are you to say, should not write? Prabhupada should not write like this? What is our qualification? So this is, of course, people are doing out of ignorance, we can understand that. But at the same time, we have to make them understand that this is not a qualification. We are not in a position to stand here and say what Prabhupada should or should not do. That is not, Prabhupada would get so many lay members, they would come and advise him how to preach. They don't know anything, they couldn't advise him how to preach. And Prabhupada would tolerate them, it's alright, their intention is good, don't worry. Okay. For us it's not good. So hearing process is stressed here, the attitude of hearing is very important. And the last point is made is important is the word bhajati. What is it said about the word bhajati? Service. Yeah, bhajati is not worship. Prabhupada always, Shraddhavan bhajati yomam samayukta atmavata. Word bhajati again is stressed in that purport. Bhajati does not mean worship, but it means service to the Supreme Lord. On the other hand, we just speculate what we are doing. He will not come to the point that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Speculation is very difficult. Vedeshu durlabham, adurlabham atma bhakta. For devotee it's very easy. So this verse had three main points. One is that it establishes Krishna as Paramatma. One who knows that is the perfect Lord. Second, he says how to hear submissively, what's the qualification. And thirdly, important the word bhajati, devotion service, which is a result of understanding that Krishna is Paramatma. The Supreme Person of God is Paramatma. Okay? Text 20. So much Krishna are we 20? Last verse.
इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रम् idam uktam maya nagha etat buddhva buddhiman shayat krit krityasya cha bharata. This is the most comprehensive part of the Vedic scripture, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
The Lord clearly explains here that this is the substance of all revealed scriptures, and one should understand this as it is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus one will become intelligent and perfect in the transcendental knowledge. In other words, by understanding this philosophy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engaging in his transcendental service, everyone can become freed from all contaminations of the modes of material nature. Devotional service is a process of spiritual understanding. Wherever devotional service exists, the material contamination cannot coexist. Devotional service to the Lord and the Lord Himself are one and the same because they are spiritual. Devotional service takes place within the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. The Lord is said to be the sun, and ignorance is darkness, is called darkness. Where the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Therefore, whenever devotional service is present under the proper guidance of bona fide spiritual master, there is no question of ignorance.
Okay, let's stop there. Can you summarize the paragraph?
Devotional service and Krishna is non-different. So, wherever Krishna is there, we learned also that ignorance won't be there. And so, in that form, if we understand devotional service as non-different from Krishna, what we are inviting in ourselves is actually light. And wherever light exists, darkness won't be there.
Very good. Abhash Krishna Prabhu, any points so far? Please use the
I think one important point Prabhupada is saying that the devotion is present under proper guidance of bona fide spiritual master. Then there is no question of ignorance.
Correct.
And Lord Krishna and devotion is one and the same. And one who understands Krishna as the Supreme Person of Godhead without doubting, that is the ultimate knowledge.
Very good. So conclusion is that Krishna is Supreme Person of Godhead. As a result of understanding that, we perform devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. Very good. Then there will be no ignorance. That's the conclusion. Okay. Next paragraph.
One more point was also that we are freed from the contamination of the three modes of material nature.
Very good. Very true. Thank you.
Everyone must take to this consciousness of Krishna and engage in devotional service to become intelligent and purified. Unless one comes to this position of understanding Krishna and engage in devotional service, however intelligent he may be in the estimation of some common man, he is not perfectly intelligent. The word Anagnya by which Arjuna is addressed is significant. Anagnya, O sinless one, means that unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. One has to become free from all contamination, all sinful activities, that he can understand. But devotional service is so pure and potential that once one is engaged in devotional service, he automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. While one is performing devotional service in the association of pure devotees in full Krishna consciousness, there are certain things which require to be vanquished altogether. The most important thing one has to surmount is the weakness of the heart. The first fall down is caused by the desire to lord it over the material nature. Thus one gives up the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord. The second weakness of the heart is that one increases the propensity to lord over the material nature. He becomes attached and the possession of matter. The problems of material existence are due to these weaknesses of the heart. In this chapter, the first 5 verses describe the process of freeing oneself from these weaknesses of heart, and the rest of the chapter from 6th verse through the end discusses Purushottama Yoga. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport to the 15th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Purushottama Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person. Hare Krishna.
So what are the main points in this paragraph?
Everyone must engage themselves in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness to become intelligent and be purified. So we cannot, one has to become sinfulness, then sinlessness, then only we can do more properly, engage properly in devotional service. And one of the things is that's why Prabhupada insists on chanting to purification of ourselves, so we progress in Krishna consciousness.
Very good.
So while one is performing, then the Prabhupada also talks about the association with devotees. How the weaknesses of person also get affected, they carried away from Krishna's consciousness, how they fall down. So the fall down process also described here.
What are the 2?
The first fall down is caused due to the desire to the material nature. So one
desire to lord it or
being the lord of material nature.
And
then second is one to possess those
things, and one becomes attached.
Second
is one becomes attached. Very true.
So how is this chapter trying to helping us to overcome that?
The first 5 verses are
talks about freeing oneself from the weakness of this heart.
Yeah.
And the balance verses talks about how we can get closer to Purushottam.
Very good.
Yes. The problems of material existence.
Use the microphone.
The weakness of heart.
Correct.
So it's only the perception. It's actually may not be existing, but it's only the perception. So if our heart is weak because of all these qualities which Prabhu was complaining. So that eventually the heart becomes weak and we face that as a material existence problem.
Yes.
So the opposite is like to make it strong and the process is devotional service.
Correct. And devotional service under the guidance of spiritual masters. That's important. Yeah. Any other points?
So is that weakness of heart is linked to the faith? Because we don't have the faith, we get the weakness of heart, and that's where the fall down comes. So going back to what you said, we have to have the faith.
Correct.
Are they two linked here?
Yes, they are linked. Very good. Good point. Today, the Daurbalyam, weakness of heart, mentioned in the 2nd chapter of Gita. You have a petty weakness of heart. Because these are the weakness of heart when we become attached to lording to our material nature. So that's very important actually. Because for us as devotees, we may not be directly dealing with material nature in terms of like a person in forgetfulness. We are trying to use everything in Krishna's service. But still, if we try to lord it over the devotees, that also is the lording nature, lording tendency. So one has to, even if one has authority, one cannot be authoritarian. Having authority is maybe the service given to us. You have some authority, you're a manager, or you're head of the department, or a temple president, or a GVC, or whatever is there. So one has been given some authority. But along with authority comes responsibility and accountability. We are answerable to somebody, and we have taken some responsibilities. So that authority is good. But if authority is used to lord it over others, as Prabhupada said, lord over material nature, so that I am the greatest devotee. If that mood is there, that's called a lording tendency. I had a great difficulty in understanding this lording over material nature. What does it mean? It's such a A typical phrase that Prabhupada uses, which outside of ISKCON people don't understand. They have no idea. What do you mean, Lord over material nature? What does it mean? It is very difficult to understand. But once you read Prabhupada books, you understand that lording tendency, that Ishwara Aham Aham Bhogi, next chapter is coming. 16th chapter, demoniac qualities. That is 16th chapter. So the lording tendency is very dangerous because we come from that lording tendency. And the demigods fall into the trap. They forget that they are not supreme. They forget that they are dependent on Krishna. So all the Leela, Govardhan Leela, Indra, all the Asuras, not only the demons fall in the trap, even the demigods fall in the trap. Brahma falls into the trap, Lord Shiva falls into the trap. Many of devatas, they have problems. Indra, Chandra, Vayu. Because they forget at times that they are dependent on the Lord and He is supreme and we are His subordinates. Therefore, we try to lord over material nature and when we get some success, what happens? We get attached to it. I noticed that at work also, because we write software, so we write a program and it works nicely. You can't get attached to it. It's my program. I wrote this piece of code, this is my code. Works so well. The problem says here, the second fault one is one gets attached to this thing. It becomes very possessive. Anyone says the program is failed, how can they say that's my program? You hurt me. It's a piece of code, but then he gets so attached to it. So everything like that. Children get attached to toys. So Sharanti made that poem, right? And she made, or she used to say it anyway. It might be from ISKCON Desire. Me and my toys and all, something like that. Not yet. Not yet published. I think that published before Bharat was born. Me and my toys, So it started with children getting possessive. My toys, I won't share my toys. That's it. We think our children are very childish. But we are the adults, we are doing the same thing.
Because what happens, like, since we are born, we are grown up, since childhood we are being used to with the appraisals, like, if the kid does something in the school or something, they get the certificate and you have done this, you have achieved, this is your effort. So this is like given since childhood.
So
what will be the replacement of that then? You have to tell them, oh, this is your Krishna has done that. Is that the correct way?
That remind them that we are dependent on Krishna. When we do these activities, we are depending on Krishna. Otherwise, we may do so many things. But if Krishna is not there, it's not going to work. It is working because of Krishna. Like now we are in the hospital, it's conceived, and the doctors, they're doing wonderful job. Yes, because Krishna is there. He's empowering them. Otherwise they can make mistakes also. And they almost did in this situation. First treatment was not right. So it caused a lot of problems. But then they rectified it, so now it's okay. But Krishna is there, the devotee's prayers are there. And because of devotee prayer, Krishna is taking special care. And that's why the devotee is able to recover from the situation. So you're right. So that is the important point, to understand that we give the credit to Krishna. So when someone says good thing about a school, that's why in one school I saw they had a sign up. 99 ways to praise a child. To appreciate a child. 99 ways. So if you can't find anything, just say, oh, you're breathing so nicely. Can't find any good qualities in it. But then that only reinforces the false ego. And if I don't get that quota of praise, then I feel very offended.
They get a... Sorry, no, much.
But sometimes it's like there is a... But sometimes it's a kind of motivation which we have to give, otherwise they won't.
True, I agree. That point is, that is the intention, but see what happens as a result of doing that indiscriminately, not connecting it to Krishna, is that you become proud. You've done very well, but thanks to Krishna. Don't take the credit, that's all. Pass on the credit to Krishna, Guru and Krishna.
I remember my Prabhu, since he started his, must be watching now, but I never did like that, and not even now I'm doing. But what he does, every exam he passes, he gives, like whenever he gets the result, he just offers to Krishna, this is what you have done. And I always used to say, oh, you're doing this, okay. Because you also have done something, but he always has this, I don't know, it's inbuilt in him, so he just offers to Krishna. But now we are so used to whatever we get new thing, like passport or anything, just offer to Krishna.
Yeah.
So
Right.
maybe we have to do this for kids also.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about myself.
Sure, sure.
So that's why that growth will be in adults when they go
Yeah.
adult. So
Very true, very true.
you don't have to do anything.
Exactly, exactly. So that's what Prabhupada sometimes would say very simply, all you have to do is add Krishna to your life. It's so simple, isn't it? Don't take away anything unless one is doing sinful activities. You don't have to take out anything. It's all there, good. Just connect it to Krishna. Very simple. Yad karoshi darshanashi. Madarpanam. Of course, in India we say Krishna Arpanamastu, but then we do whatever we want. That is just Namke Vaste, for namesake only. Krishna is there. Just to keep you happy, otherwise, I'll be in problems, so just to make you happy, I'm saying that, but actually I don't mean it. So, this lauding tendency is very, very strong, even after taking up devotional service. It doesn't go away so easily. And this is something you have to very carefully guard against. From childhood, as you rightly said, you start from the young age, offer everything to Krishna. The praise also you offer to Krishna. Then how about if someone criticizes you? What should you do? Can you offer that to Krishna?
Prabhu, we can always say that you made me to realize that some point, so thank you for that as well. So you can say it in that way.
Very nice point.
Yes. And Prabhu, 2 points I wanted to say. Nowadays even our kids get the certificate for turning up every day for the school. So if they come up for if they attend the whole term, they get an award or something. In our time that was like a must thing, but nowadays they get an award for just turning up for the school.
Turning up. Listen like hawks or listen like human beings is another question. Just be in the class, don't understand anything. So, yeah? Participating is considered correct. Of course, there's a good side to that. There's a good side to that. At least the punctuality and participation is there, and discipline is there. But that is to be offered to Krishna ultimately.
And I was actually going back to 7th chapter, verse 27, Ichchadvesha Samuttena, where we actually get attached because of those qualities, Ichchadvesha Samuttena.
Yeah.
Is that the way we can connect?
Very good, very nice verse. You connected it nicely. So, because see, by lauding to our material nature, Prabhupada says the second step in the fall down is one becomes attached to matter. When you get attached to matter, when you are in the material consciousness, then there will be dualities. Ichcha and Dvesha. Wisdom Prabhu says, itcha is like itch. It itches, you want to scratch it. So the desire is for sense gratification, desire for sense enjoyment is like an itch. You want to go and scratch it. I thought that's pretty nice, isn't it? I remember it after 10 years of hearing it. 10 or 15 years ago I heard this. I thought that's a neat explanation of the itcha because itch. And Dvesha, I hate this, I like this, I hate this. And you see, when celebrities are interviewed, they ask this question, what is the 10 worst things you hate? What are the 10 things you love the most? It's all Ichcha and Dvesha. So one gets caught in the Dvandva Mohena Bharata. One gets bewildered,
Attachment.
One gets bewildered and attached, both. Confused. One gets covered. That's what Maya has two potencies, right? She has the covering potency and the pulling down potency. So she does both. So one falls down again. And it happens such a way that we don't recognize it. That's the problem. That's why in association they can detect something wrong with you. On our own we can't pick it up. Very hard.
And the second part it says, Sarva Bhutan says Sarva Bhutan is not excluding anyone.
Yeah,
so it's like
once you are in material consciousness, you are all affected. I think Janardhan had his hand up first. You want to say something and then what?
Just an example of the lording over and the false ego. Even a child, does not like to be corrected.
That's right.
Yeah.
So then, leave alone what happens to a person who is not in Krishna consciousness and he's like 50 or 60, then this is possible.
He thinks I know everything.
Exactly. Even a child, 8 years or...
Yeah.
You
said 8 years? For all the 8 years here.
Yes, I didn't give up. I just gave up.
Age bracket.
Yeah, I didn't give up. And plus also in terms of the control, in our Bhakti Diksha, there was an interesting situation where Mataji commented that we were actually reading Krishna as the supreme controller. We have no control. Then he said, no, you're wrong because my boss, my manager is the real estate company. She says, my manager says, my boss, he is the owner, he says that you have to be in full control and I can see that he is in full control of things. He says, I can see he's in full control of everything. He keeps on telling me that you have to be in full control, but Prabhupada is saying Krishna is the supreme controller. So,
material control.
then even in material world, then I asked her, are you sure he's in full control? He says, yes, I can see every day he's in full control. He can spend everything he does properly. And I said, what happens if no buyers turn up to buy or no sellers want to sell the property? Then is he still in full control? So he understood, oh yeah.
Few things they may not be in control, but majority is in control. A little bit here and there not in control.
Yeah.
That's what Ravana thought, right? He thought he was in full control. What happened to him? Are you in control of your old age, death, disease? That's the height of illusion to think that you are in full control. Isn't it? It's a big illusion. Yeah. Yes, Madhuri.
What we have in this Kali Yuga is, this is like a little bit beyond what I was thinking, like why we are so much contaminated in Kali Yuga, and why Krishna wants Kali Yuga as to be very contaminated, because it's now after like 10,000 years it's not going to be any more devotional services. Why it's like that, to get back to this Yuga or something, because previously in the other yugas we don't have this desires or something, because all people was pure and all. So I don't understand how the desire got
degraded.
Yeah.
Another 10 minutes.
Just to add to that point, Prabhu, after 10,000 years there will be no devotional service. At the moment only it is so degraded. And the Kali Yuga is 4 lakh something. So what will happen till that period? Just can't imagine.
Yes.
Wait. You want to wait?
She's not going to take it. I'll take it as book. The Gokul family is booked.
No worry then.
Your seating is confirmed. Window seat and aisle seat.
There was an interview between Prabhupada and one interviewer. So he said after 10,000 years there won't be any, my disciples will be going back to Godhead.
Yeah.
That's the assurance I can give. Only thing, only will be remaining the other miscreants or something. What he answered properly.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah. So coming back to your original question, who would like to answer? You want to answer that?
So your question is Kali Yuga, why it is so degraded? That is the main question, isn't it? And why?
We are like how our desires got so much contaminated that we started thinking about material so in that high degree. Because in other yugas we didn't think, like the thinking was very different. It was pure, everything was pure, everything was like so much, what do you say, spiritual. But then this got degraded. And then what, according to partial, what is that, annihilation, then it goes back to Satyuga. So this is just the cycle. why this gets so much.
Actually, we have because we were never pure. That's why we are still circulating for millions of years. Actually, Krishna has given us the mercy in Kali Yuga to be born as human beings because we've been circulating. We've been taking this 8.4 million species, body forever. We've been always there. Krishna has been so merciful, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been so merciful that he has given us this human body. And most importantly, more than this human body, he is at least, he is giving us this realization through Srila Prabhupada that, he is giving us this opportunity, and this 10,000 years is a golden period. So I guess, what Prabhupada says is this is the best bet out of a bad bargain. So he's giving us this opportunity, he's merciful, he's giving us this opportunity to use it for a better purpose. And in terms of why Kali Yuga is degrading, because that is how Krishna has, he's arranged things that, there will be degradation. So we cannot prevent that from degrading. But then, for us, as devotees, we have to take the best opportunity because we are getting this opportunity.
That's true. There are 2 points to this. One point is that Kali Yuga is not a degrading factor. We are degraded, so we have gone to Kali Yuga. If we are not degraded, we would have gone to another planet, another universe where Satyuga was going on. Krishna didn't make Kali Yuga and pushed us into it. No. We chose to come to Kali Yuga. Our consciousness was fitting Kali Yuga consciousness. But that's the first point, okay? So it's not Krishna doing it, it's our consciousness to fit it in here, so he put us here. Having said that, Kali Dosha Nidhi Rajan, Asti Ek Mahan Guna. Even though it's an ocean of faults, there is one good quality. What is that?
Just by taking Lord's name.
Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Paramahari. Very good. So it's as you said, it's a blessing in disguise, right? This brings up your point. It's a blessing in disguise because while it is a curse to be in Kali Yuga, it's also a blessing that simply by chanting the holy name, one can get delivered. Especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in this Kali Yuga. So fortunate. And before this, Krishna came. And Prabhupada came in this. And now we are in the 10,000 years of this. 432,000 years, 10,000 is golden age, and we are in that golden age. I mean, how fortunate it must be, right? So fortunate. Now we shouldn't waste this opportunity. This golden, super golden opportunity we got. It's like, yeah, and we have Prabhupada, and we got the golden age. Because many people came in the golden age, but they didn't come in contact with Prabhupada. So we want to make those people aware of Prabhupada and at least come in contact with Prabhupada. Give them an opportunity to take up. That's why today we're starting a new series, Cofield Hall program. Please give your blessings. We're starting a new batch. Last time we had a very good response. We had 4 Bhakti Mishras come out of that. Joy. Because we want to build a big congregation around, of course not we doing it, Prabhupada doing it. We want to have a big congregation around the new temple so that when the new temple does come, we have a lot of devotees to welcome the Lord. So this is very important. So anybody you know living in that side of the town, ask them to come and join us. We're starting an intro series today for 6 weeks. For next Saturday we're having a break, but it's only Devamta Swami will be here, so we're all going 20. Put a hold on this program, go there, and then again 3rd week come back again. So we'll have a back and forth. But that's okay, we get up here. So anyway, so back to your question. So you've got the answer, 2 points there, right? 2 points, 2 answers. Chaitanya Prabhu, then Devaki Manchi, then Vijay Gopikesh. In that order the hands went up.
I just have a question about weakness of heart.
Yeah.
As it's defined here, it's more to do with things like what's described at the beginning of the chapter, false ego, dualities and all of that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's also interpreted within devotee circles or even outside as well. When someone has a weak heart, it can mean that they find it difficult to face difficulties, or they find it difficult to push on in times of difficulties. When you have a weak heart, you just can't push on. You want to give up, especially when things get tough. So, in that sense, how can devotees overcome weakness of heart in that whenever they face challenges in devotional service, they want to give up, but they need the strength to push on.
Yeah. So the practice of devotional service is the strength under the guidance of spiritual master. That is the strength. That is our fort. The weakness of heart is the enemy attacking us. And the fort is the Prabhupada, this Prabhupada itself explains that when devotional service under the devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged, he automatically becomes the stage of sinlessness, anaga. Because unless one comes to the point of prema, there is always a possibility of fall down. Therefore, the association of devotees is what protects us. That is like a fence protecting us.
So if someone feels like giving up in devotional service, you're saying that they can draw strength from the association of devotees.
Right, that's right. That's right. And try to engage in some service in their association. So by that process, one picks up again. Japatak Maharaj used an example which I like in this connection. Same question. So just like when the plane is sometimes going down, it's nose diving, then the pilot pulls on the throttle, full throttle, to make it pick up and come back to its normal height. Similarly, if you see you're falling down, it's a grab for devotional service and pull yourself up to that. So I thought it's a good analogy, it kind of sits in the head. Yeah. So I just remembered that based on your statement. Simple but nice to explain.
Actually,
yes.
You are right, though, that when the aircraft tries to land, that time first there is nosedive, then before it lands, the aircraft attitude becomes like this.
Yes.
Then it runs like this.
Correct.
Nose becomes up. That's how it works.
Yeah, you're right. The back two wheels touch first. They hit the town, and then the front one.
Then the front wheel. Because the back two wheel is, there are 24 wheels that can take the load of the aircraft.
Yeah.
The front has got only 2 wheels which cannot take the load of the aircraft. So it always touches from back and then it slides. And also, the physics behind this is like this. When the aircraft nose dive and then actually changes, actually it gives you more lift that time. Because the wing is facing the air at particular angle and that gives you more lift. So that's how it balances out this thing. The speed is less, because the speed has to be less to touch down the runway. The lift has to be generated by a particular angle. So,
very good. Very good.
You don't have to take off. So that is the normal
physics in action. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Yeah. Yogi Manji?
In this chapter, we said that Krishna is Paramatma.
Yeah.
And Krishna says that he is Paramatma.
Yes.
Then we also chant to connect with Krishna. So when we are chanting, are we actually trying to connect with Krishna as Paramatma?
Yes. Prabhupada said our Paramatma is two-handed. Shyam Sundar. So yogis try to connect to Paramatma. Devotees try. Is he hungry? Give some prasad. We're almost finished. 2 comments and we're done. Yeah. So the devotee is attracted to Shyam Sundar form. So there's no difference. This you are right. Today's 2 slokas we learned. Krishna is Paramatma. And we should engage in devotional. Once you understand this, you engage in devotional service. That is the essence of this whole thing. So coming back to your question, that one engages in Paramatma, yogi is attracted to Paramatma, whereas devotee is attracted to Shyam Sundar form, two-handed form. We are connecting to the Lord, two-handed form, Shyam Sundar. But Paramatma is Krishna, so there is no difference. Even if they are connected to Paramatma, they are also connected to Krishna. They may or may not be aware of it. As devotees, we are aware of it, thanks to Prabhupada. You become aware of this fact. Right? What's next? Go to Vijay.
This is related to the question what she was asking.
Oh, okay.
She was telling why this yuga is very degraded.
Yes.
And I heard in one of the lectures that
Yeah.
it is not only this age, but even those yugas like Satyuga and all those ages were degraded because Lord had to come in many incarnations. For example, in Satyuga, 4 incarnations he had to come. And then other 2 yugas, 2 incarnations. But here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come as the incarnation of Buddha to just lift us up. So this is actually we should not think that this is degraded yuga, but actually a fortunate yuga to get out of it.
Yeah. But it's degraded, Bhagavatam says, because there is many faults here. It is also the most fortunate. It's both. Kala dosha nidhirajan. So it says, Sukadeva Goswami says to Parikshit Maharaj, my dear king, but Kali is an ocean of faults. That is also true. So if we get attracted to the faults, we can fall down and forget Krishna. But you take advantage of Yasti Mahan Guna, the good quality, then we can get delivered very quickly, which otherwise is very difficult. Yeah, definitely, both are there.
Prabhu, in that relation, we had this retreat, demoniac and divine within, where Maharaj actually explained that these personalities actually existed on different planets in different yugas, and then so they were already existed, but in Kali Yuga they are actually within. So that is related to this point. His Holiness Bhakti Shastri Maharaj explained it.
That's why Prabhu, we were degraded in those yugas. That is why we don't come back to Godhead.
That's right. In other yugas, we missed the boat many times. This time, let's make it sure we're on board. Yes, thank you. Very good point.
Got the ticket.
Prabhu's got a flight tonight, so still is come. Everybody said, I'm flying tonight, so 2 days before packing, 2 days after relaxing. This life goes on, can always sleep on the plane. Better sleep better when I have a full working day and work hard full day and then crash on the plane, you don't care the next day, snoring or next day, middle seat or top seat, you don't care. Samadhi. Yeah, so that's where it's good. Okay. Okay, you want to announce? Yeah, please.
It's not in my
I'll turn it off.
That's alright.
So, actually we met